Hello guys! Our visual essay will be using the film Clueless. So let's get started. Clueless is a film directed by a woman, Amy Heckerling, from the 1995 coming-of-age movie that talks about beauty, typical high school girl teen drama in a comical/romance way. Whereas Finding Nemo, which is a film directed by a male, Andrew Stanton, which is a family film that also talks about coming of age and trust. It was created in 2003 for children audiences with a common issue of losing a parent. In Laura Mulvey, The Will to Change Men, Masculinity, and Love, Chapter 2, Understanding Patriarchy. The Laura Mulvey essay works on exposing the unconsciousness of the patriarchal system that has been structured into the film industry, hence why most films show males, and if they show females, they focus on showing why women can't stand on their own. The representation of females has nothing to do with how unrepresented they are, but to show the pleasures of viewing females in a helpless character and reinforcing male dominance. Laura Mulvey also hits on talking about females that don't have penises. It shows the lack of that and shows she signifies that she is nothing, dependent on males and to be looked at. She also hits on Freud, the idea of psychoanalysis. Males are deemed as superior and dominating compared to females as weak, no agency, just subjects. Also, that it is okay to let females know when they are stepping boundaries by psychologically abusing them. In our visual essay, we will be arguing that Clueless is a feminist film because the women in the film are challenging the idea of the male gaze, whereas in Finding Nemo, they subvert to it. And in Clueless, we see that there is some fight back in terms of patriarchy, as bell hooks defined is a political system that insists that males are inherently dominating, superior to everything, compared to Finding Nemo, which is all about patriarchy. In terms of feminist film, we think it means that the audience is thinking about equal rights about women, equality, and how women walk the world on an everyday basis, basically meaning lack of sexism and or gender roles and hierarchy. Our points we use to make a claim that Clueless is a feminist film is that it challenges patriarchy, which will be defined again below, and that women are seen as equal and as able as males, which is the opposite of male gaze. As defined from Laura Mulvey, patriarchy, again, is a political social system that insists that males are inherently dominating, superior to everything and everyone. So the other term we would like to define is this idea of the male gaze, which is the act of depicting women and the world in the visual arts and in literature, from a masculine, heterosexual perspective that presents and represents women as sexual objects for the pleasure of the heterosexual male viewer. The idea of patriarchy is challenged in Clueless, which is why we say this film is a feminist film. In Clueless, the main character, Cher, has control of everything in her life. If she wasn't in control, she would find another way to get into control. And if she wasn't in control, she commanded someone to come help her, which led her to have control again. It's her father. She makes sure her dad is fed and is eating healthy and takes his vitamins. Cher is able to fight on her own for her grades in school and explain her way. She won't take no for an answer. Cher fights this idea of needing a man behind her at all times by not having a boyfriend really in the movie, and when she got a boyfriend, it wasn't for beauty standards at least. Cher's father proves that he needs a woman in his life and can be better than him or any male. He makes it known when he says she argues better than some of his coworkers and that this is the best treatment he has gotten since mom was alive. In Finding Nemo, patriarchy is very much seen here. The whole film is about Marlin being a single dad and that he can do it all on his own. The only time they talked about the mother being killed was at the beginning, and they didn't really use that at all in the rest of the film, and how it affected Nemo or Marlin. Nothing at all. Which, in our opinion, really shows how important they view the role of mothers to be as not as important, or an easy role, which backfired on Marlin because he lost his child. So, how would the film pan out if the roles were reversed? If the mom stayed alive and Marlon died? The whole time he was trying to find his son, he didn't ask for help. Dory forced herself onto him to help, but if it wasn't for that, he didn't want any help at all. As Dory stated, she said, "I don't know what's with men and not asking for help." Even while Dory is doing her best to help, Marlon is being rude the entire time and putting her down. He second-guessed any suggestions Dory made in order to find his son. Another big point on patriarchy seen in the film is that Marlon taught his son to just allow himself to be disabled with Nemo's weak arm because there will be someone like a woman to take care of you. Whereas Dory didn't have the luxury as a woman, she had to learn to deal with her disability because she needs to seem like she has it all together. No one else will help her if she can't herself. As for the male gaze, it is lacked in the film Clueless, and Finding Nemo subverts to it, which helps explain why Clueless is a feminist film. In the film Clueless, there is minimal use of the male gaze. It mainly comes from stereotypes. Clueless has real issues they are fighting for in the film, and in general, is teaching young women about possible coming-of-age moments rather than the idea of needing to be looked at-ness. And the characters in the film know that the main character, Cher, has other directions than just being useless and beautiful, but beauty does have a bonus. Clueless mainly fights off the idea of the male gaze by having the females in the film being active and not passive. If Cher was taken out of the film would have no story at all. She is a vital part of the film and the struggle she faces. Cher makes a good point in making sure that she isn't only about beauty, but she has other accomplishments in her life. Yet the other characters have this beauty standard that they are trying to live up to. This shows that not all women are like that and that they don't try to live up to these unrealistic beauty standards. In Finding Nemo, the film was created through the male gaze. Clearly, Marlon didn't believe Dory to be able to make her own choices or decisions that could actually impact him being able to find his son or not, because her character was made to be mentally impaired. He also tried to make any choices his idea, not Dory's, so basically belittling her and not allowing her to be seen as active in this case. This film kind of seems like it is for people to enjoy Dory and to laugh at her rather than to enjoy her drive. They focus on the fact that she has a disability of short-term memory loss and that she is basically a joke rather than that she allowed Marlon to actually find his son. They also, along with the male gaze, tried to push stereotypes into the film, like, for example, that women are dramatic and aren't tough. When Dory cried after Marlon said he doesn't need her anymore, that they are easily distracted, and they are slow with no sense of urgency. Although Clueless isn't a perfect example of feminist film, Finding Nemo definitely has its moments of being like a feminist film. We used Finding Nemo because, one, we wanted to showcase that even children's films are sharing these ideas to youth that they eventually pick up on and may use in their adulthood life. So, little PSA, let's be careful what we are trying to teach these kids. In conclusion, these films overall are just trying to elevate the males in life and keep females down below as not as important, kind of like the idea of not to be heard, only seen. We saw in Clueless that it is a feminist film because they fight this idea of patriarchy and other ideas of women's rights and equality, and that the film directed by a woman doesn't use the male gaze and tries to uplift women. Whereas in Finding Nemo, we saw that the film is not feminist because they are pushing the idea of patriarchy and the use of male gaze the entire film. Laura Mulvey helped support our thesis because through it we were able to understand the idea of patriarchy and the negativity it brings to society. If you haven't already, we 10 out of 10 recommend all these texts, readings. Please let us know if you agree or disagree with our take on this, and we will see you guys next time for another one. Hello guys. Our visual essay will be using the film Clueless and Finding Nemo. and the book Laura Mulvey, Chapter 2 on Understanding Patriarchy. So let's get started. Clueless is a film directed by a woman, Amy Heckerling, from the 1995 coming-of-age movie that talks about beauty, typical high school girl teen drama in a comical/romance way. Whereas Finding Nemo, which is a film directed by a male, Andrew Stanton, which is a family film that also talks about coming of age and trust. It was created in 2003 for children